Man, Lathan for the Ringer here at Radio Row. We're here with Saints great All-Pro Demario Davis,
up,
my man. How you doing,
brother?
Look, a lot of stuff going on with the Saints in the news right now.
Yeah.
The coaching search.
Yeah.
Just give me your overall thoughts on what it's been to fill the head coaching position in New Orleans.
I mean, that's, with any organization, the head coach means so much to just the leadership, you got to have somebody that's going to fire your team up and make sure they're inspired to play. And you got to have somebody that's going to put your team in the best situation to win. I trust our organization and who they put in that spot. Our organization, knows what it means to be a contender, and they're going to do everything they can to put us back in that situation. So whoever they select for the spot, they're going to get my best, and that's all that matters.
Oh, okay. You're going to go out there and perform no matter what.
Yeah, for sure.
So you have 5 All-Pro selections.
Yeah.
Man, bruh.
Yeah.
They look like they fit you for that gold jacket, brother. 5 All-Pro selections. Being a successful athlete here in New Orleans, I was wondering if you had any advice for somebody like a Zion Williamson, who is another superstar that's here in this city that a lot of people want to see reach their potential here in the Crescent City.
Well, I think number one, it just begins with what your goals are. So for me, my goal was to be the best be the best football player that I could be, and be the best linebacker that I could be. And I felt if I put all my time and energy and focus into it, I feel like I could be one of the best ones in the game and one of the best ones to ever do it.
Yeah.
But that was just one of my goals. That was, me. And so everybody have different goals. And so, if that's your goal, then you got to be able to eliminate the distractions that's going to keep you away from your goal.
Yeah.
I think when I'm talking to young people, what I think that no matter what their goals are inside the game, that much more than you having a Hall of Fame career, I want you to have a Hall of Fame life. And when you come into this space, it's so many distractions. You have so many resources. You have so much free time that you can get caught up in all different type of stuff. But how do you get to the other side of it and still be able to have retained your character and become a better person through it all? I want you to be a great person. I want you to be able to be a great husband if you're married. I want you to be able to be a great father if you got kids, and be able to have stored up your wealth that you can pass it on to the next generation. That's what my focus is. I believe that's a Hall of Fame life. And how do you have that in the midst of it? So I'm much more concerned when I'm talking to the young people in our locker room or a player in any space, how do I help you have a Hall of Fame life? And that's where I'm sitting at 36 years old. I have maximized my time in this game to when I'm gone, I know my kids set, I know my wife good, I know my grandbaby's gonna be good, not just from a resource standpoint, but we still got our peace of mind. We still love each other. We still love being with each other. And that's what's gonna take you farther than anything,
Where does that motivation and drive from within you come from? Where did you get that from?
My faith. My faith is central to everything that I've been about. So I feel like I was a person, I was going to praise Jesus before it was cool to get on the camera and praise Jesus. I'm so glad we got so many athletes who get up and say glory to Jesus now. But for me, it's about the gospel going forward. God became man, lived the life that we couldn't live, and he gave us his life for ours. He died, he resurrected, and our faith is banked on that Jesus gave his life for our life, and we have eternal life with him. So that's all I want to do is I want to spread that goodness that's inside of me to other people. But how do I do that? They're going to first look at the man. When people see me, it's more going to be caught than taught. They're not all going to hear what I got to say. They're going to watch my life. And so my life need to measure up the same in public as it do in private. You know what I'm saying? And then who's going to see that the most is my wife, my kids. So how do I pour into my wife? I love her, right? That's something that my kids can be proud of. That then the way that I love them and raise them up, that's really your legacy. My legacy ain't no statue or a business that I create. It's my kids. They're going to take on the principles that I stood for. So the same way I'm in this camera and representing something, and when people see me, I represent something. I got 6 kids. I want them all to represent what me and their mother represented. And so that's what I'm trying to live for. And I think when players, we have this huge platform, if we can represent that can influence, when you look at our country, I think when areas are struggling, it's because families are struggling. And so it's okay, what messaging are you going to use with your platform is to live right, to be something worth following, to be a positive influence, to spread joy, spread love. to bring back the appreciation of family. You know, and so like I think that's where it comes from for me. It comes from my faith, then it overflows to my family, and then I think that's where you see all the different things I'm doing in the community, how I show up on the field. How I show up on the field is really just because I want to impact my teammates. I want my teammates to looking like I want to be like that dude. And if I show up, I'm on the field in an alpha environment and I'm a bum, that ain't like I'm trying to be like him. But if I'm a 5-time All-Pro, they like, okay, well, I want to be like that. But then when they see the All-Pro, I don't want you to follow the All-Pro, follow the All-Pro life.
Right.
That's what I want you to get. Because we done seen many All-Pros or many Hall of Famers who destroy their lives.
Of course.
And I don't want you to destroy your family life, destroy your kids' life because you couldn't get yourself together. You know what I'm saying? But it's a hard road to manage. And so that's why I try to help mentor.
Let me ask you this. Because I have seen the upswing in people outwardly praising God and praising Jesus in sports.
Yeah.
Nobody prays to lose the game.
Yeah.
Is there a blessing? Can there be a blessing in losing?
Yeah, because life isn't about mountains and valleys. Life is about finding God in the midst of the mountain and valley. See, his word says, I'll never leave you nor forsake you. So when you're on a mountaintop, a lot of times you get blessed, you forget God. And then when you go to the valley, you know, it's like you feel like you ain't got nobody, then you want to call out to God. But God is there the whole time. He never leaves. And so it's about having that relationship to be able to find him in the highs when you're winning and the lows when you feel like you're losing. Because he doesn't change and he has a lesson for you to learn because he's constantly molding your character. Nobody's perfect in this world. But what he's doing is he says, the work I begin in you, I'll carry on to completion. His design is for us to be holy like him. You be holy as I am holy. So, but God has to do that work. Ain't nothing that you can do to make yourself holy. But he can come in you and he can cultivate and shape. And what he does is he uses the experiences in your life. He does it if you were 18-0. He can do it if you 0-18. Because he's shaping the person that you become in the midst of it.
So look, a couple more questions to get you out of here. Got to ask you one thing. I saw something interesting that Cam Newton said on his podcast. Or actually, it wasn't on his podcast. It was on First Take. And they asked him if he would trade in his MVP award for a Super Bowl. And Cam, I thought, bravely said no. He said if it's between the MVP and the Super Bowl, he's going to take the MVP. You a 5-time All-Pro. Would you give up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 All-Pros to have that Super Bowl? We're here. The game is this week. Super Bowl, biggest sporting event in the entire world. How much of the personal success that you've had would you give up for the opportunity to play in and win a Super Bowl?
I think that's a phenomenal question. I think it goes back to like what your goals are. For me, it was always about being the best player that I could be. And I think that allowed me to show up for my teammates the way that I did. That winning a Super Bowl was never on my bucket list. I was like, how can I be the best player that I can be? And on the way to that, if it contributes to a Super Bowl, then great. I wouldn't change anything about my career. But would I give anything to win a Super Bowl? Yes. But do I want to trade anything that I've accomplished? No, I don't. I wouldn't trade anything that I've accomplished to this date for a Super Bowl because it's almost like you willing to sell your soul to get it. Like I ain't that thirsty for nothing. Like I said, because of the highs and lows of life, I've learned. Like I remember in 2018 where I gave everything and I didn't get a Pro Bowl, I didn't get an All-Pro, and I was crushed.
Yeah.
I was crushed, so I'd be a fool to now having achieved that to be willing to give one of them back because I know how precious they are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But like in this game, what I do understand about like the business of this game, it's a competitive environment. Like the mountaintop is to be able to get that trophy. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to downplay that like it's not significant. That is the most because but it's a great teacher of life because it takes everybody. Like me alone giving everything that I've given to be the best I can, I guarantee you I probably have a bunch of Super Bowls if it was 22 Demario Davises on the team. You know what I'm saying? And that's something I can be proud of. Because I wasn't the most talented growing up, but it was the amount of work and what I was willing to sacrifice to be the best at what I did,
Mm-hmm.
that was everything. So I think that's how I would answer that.
Me and you from the same neck of the woods. You're from Mississippi. I'm from Baton Rouge. The one thing that we don't get coming up, I feel like, more than anything, we get the scripture, we get all of this, but we don't get financial literacy.
Yeah,
You're out here right now with Intuit,
yeah,
and you are doing a financial literacy forum.
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that before we get you out of here and why that's so important.
Super important because, man, 33% of adults are financially literate in our country. And so we can increase that number. Intuit wants to increase that number to 100%. And the way they're going about it is going into schools with their Intuit for Education curriculum, 150 hours of content, financial literacy concepts, but also giving them gamified ways to apply that. So they're learning how to do taxes. They're learning how to save. They're learning how to budget. They're learning about credit. They're learning about investing. So all these different things that are going to help them navigate. Financial literacy is a life skill. Everybody needs that. It's just like getting dressed, just like applying for a job, just like applying for college. It's a life skill, something that you need to know how to do, just like writing a resume. You need to know how to manage money because it's not just managing money. That's going to be a tool that allows you to have a successful life. And if you can build a successful life for yourself, you'll be able to build a successful life for your family, and then that'll just continue to that'll create a perpetual cycle. And that's what I think we need to do, especially in communities like some of us grow up in. It's just bad perpetual cycles. So we need to create healthy perpetual cycles.
Demario Davis, thank you for joining us, man. Appreciate you,
All right,
brother.
thank y'all. God bless.
All right,
Enjoy
man.
New Orleans.